Today we are digging into one of the most unsettling, but honestly fascinating chapters in all of medical history. It's a story about status, desperation, and a supply chain that is, well, truly macabre. All right, let's get into it.
So, picture this. It's the early 1800s. Your smile has seen better days, but hey, you've got the money to get it fixed. So you head over to a local craftsman. Could be a jeweler, maybe an ivory turner, someone who dabbles in the art of dentistry. What are your options?
Yup, you heard that right. Long before we had modern porcelain, the absolute best, most sought-after dentures were made from real human teeth. And the best place to get a whole bunch of healthy, young teeth all at once? A battlefield. This is the grim, unbelievable story of Waterloo teeth.
Okay, so you have to be asking, why on earth was this a thing? How did this become a booming business? Well, it all starts with the wealthy and their massive sweet tooth. See, as sugar got more popular and accessible to Europe's elite, their teeth basically started to rot right out of their heads. A beautiful smile was the ultimate status symbol, but behind closed lips, most wealthy mouths were just a mess. This created a huge, desperate demand for high-quality false teeth.
And the alternatives, they were pretty awful. I mean, dentures carved from animal bone or ivory? They looked fake, they were super uncomfortable. You even had the desperately poor selling their own teeth right out of their heads as live donors. And to top it all off, the so-called whiteners back then were often just acid that completely destroyed whatever enamel you had left.
But here's the real kicker. These materials were organic. Ivory is porous, right? So it would just soak up food and saliva and literally start to rot inside a person's mouth. Can you imagine? It created this unbearable taste and a truly foul odor. They needed something better, something that looked real because it was real.
So this desperate need for a better smile was growing. The demand was absolutely there, but the supply chain was, let's call it unconventional. Before a massive battle provided this grim windfall, where did all these human teeth even come from? Well, dentists turned to the criminal underworld. Enter the resurrectionists. These guys were professional grave robbers. They worked in the dead of night, supplying medical schools with cadavers for dissection, and, you guessed it, dentists with their most valuable product, human teeth.
And they were specialists at their grisly trade. They'd scope out a fresh grave, sneak in at night with wooden spades to keep the noise down, extract the front teeth, the ones that looked the best, and then sell them on the black market to the highest bidder. It was a grim business, but a very profitable one.
But think about it. Grave robbing is risky, and you're only getting one body at a time. It's not exactly a steady supply. For dentists who were trying to keep up with the soaring demand, there was a far more efficient and horribly reliable source for a sudden flood of top-quality product: war. And this brings us right to the main event. The one battle that was so huge, it gave this entire gruesome practice its name and flooded the market with the teeth of the dead.
On this single day, Napoleon's army clashed with a coalition of British, Dutch, and Prussian forces in what is now Belgium. The fighting was absolutely catastrophic, a brutal, bloody conflict that would change the course of European history and, weirdly enough, dentistry.
The scale of the carnage was just immense. Over 50,000 men were killed or wounded. And for the looters, this wasn't just a tragedy, it was a gold mine. The fallen were mostly young, healthy men. Their teeth? Strong, unstained, the perfect raw material.
You know, as soon as the fighting died down, scavengers swarmed the field. We're talking surviving soldiers, opportunistic locals, even professionals who literally traveled from Britain for this. Armed with pliers, they went from body to body, pulling teeth from the jaws of the fallen. They'd fill up barrels with them and ship them back to England to be sold to the highest-bidding dentists.
So what happened to all these teeth? How do you go from a battlefield atrocity to a luxury consumer product sitting in someone's mouth? Well, the reality of these dentures was just as unsettling as where they came from. The whole process was just incredibly crude. The teeth were boiled, that was their version of sterilization. Then the roots were chopped off, and each tooth was painstakingly riveted onto a base plate carved from hippopotamus or elephant ivory. The top and bottom plates were held together with these clumsy springs made from piano wire, which meant they were awkward and could just pop out of your mouth at any moment.
So here's the wild contrast. On the outside, the person wearing them had what looked like a perfect, natural smile. It was a true symbol of wealth. But the reality? It was a set of teeth yanked from a dead soldier,
mounted on that same old rotting ivory base that still plagued dentures, creating that same foul, just unbearable smell. Thankfully, this ghoulish practice couldn't last forever. A combination of new laws and, more importantly, some brilliant technological innovation would finally bring this whole dark chapter to a close.
So, right after Waterloo in 1815, the trade just exploded. But then, in 1832, the Anatomy Act was passed in the UK, which made grave robbing a lot more difficult. The real game changer, though, came in the 1840s with the invention of vulcanite. This was a hard, stable, pink rubber base developed by the Goodyear brothers. By about the 1880s, the era of Waterloo teeth was pretty much over.
And these new technologies were just better in every single way. Porcelain teeth were getting much better, and those vulcanite bases were hygienic, they were easy to work with, and, this is key, they were so much cheaper. A set of Waterloo teeth could cost you what a working person made in a year. Vulcanite dentures, they were affordable for almost everyone. The market had finally found a humane and practical solution.
This quote, it just perfectly captures the profound, unsettling nature of it all. That total disconnect between the wealthy lady enjoying her tea and the forgotten soldier whose body was desecrated for her smile. It's a really powerful image to sit with for a moment.
And that's really what this whole story leaves us with. It's a stark reminder that progress often has some very dark and forgotten origins. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other grim stories and human sacrifices paved the way for the simple things we all use every single day, without a second thought?